Hi, this is Mark Luke Carrier welcoming you once again to my very messy office, getting messier all the time. And this will be the fourth and for now final reading from my novel, Homing. Now, we're going to be joined by Sigmund Freud today, who's sitting over there behind me, just as an observer. Anyway, so today's reading is concerned with the disillusionment and disappointment that children often have with the adult world, the very befuddling and the confusing adult world. Notably, their inability to understand similes and metaphorical phrases or metaphorical nomenclature. But without further ado, I'll read you the portion, and I think you'll quickly understand. The adult world had tricked me before, like the first time we'd gone to a drive-in movie. I was beside myself with expectation. I checked with Dad several times, asking him, "You drive in with the car?" "Yes, that's why it's called a drive-in theater." "Drive right in." "Drive right in. With the car." "With the car. For God's sakes, how many times have I had to tell you?" He'd planted in my mind the image of a traditional movie theater, but one that would open wide its front doors to allow cars to drive inside and park, right up where the seats would have been. A drive-in theater. It stood to reason. Imagine my disappointment when the drive-in turned out to be little more than a big parking lot fronted by a giant screen. But the establishment's delights soon washed away my disenchantment, like the big gray metal speaker you hung on the inside of the car window, with a volume knob supplying various levels of unfathomable distortion. The real clincher, however, was the animated image of prancing hot dogs and popcorn containers kicking their legs like can-can dancers and inviting us to the refreshment stand. I'll never forget the smell of french fries and popcorn wafting across the summer night as hungry moviegoers stocked up on snacks in what was little more than a shack adjoining the projection room in the middle of the drive-in. I opted for 2 hot dogs, a large bucket of popcorn, an order of fries, and a large Coke, which was quickly revised by my dad to 2 hot dogs and a small Coke. "I don't want you sick all over the back seat," he said, handing me my cardboard tray of goodies. I scoffed down my food, and as a posse of technicolored cowboys rode across the western plains, I promptly fell asleep, only to awaken in my own bed the next morning. Magical America had delivered on other bizarre promises, like chicken in the basket. We often ate at a small pre-fast food restaurant in Plattsburgh, featuring this exotic dish. I studied the menu at length, until Dad turned to me and said, "How about chicken in the basket?" Still smarting from my drive-in theater disillusionment, I wasn't taking any chances. "You mean chicken in a basket?" "Yes. A real basket." "A real basket? Like a basket?" "Bring the kid the chicken," my father told the waitress, exasperated. I was thrilled beyond words when it turned out the chicken in the basket was just that, chicken in a basket. It was a small wicker basket with a loop handle, and as described on the menu, cradled inside was half a barbecued chicken, a large dollop of creamy coleslaw, and a mountain of golden fries. When I recounted this gastronomic adventure to friends at school, I'm sure a number of them thought I was making it up. Chicken in a basket? Yeah, sure. So, with my past experience of disappointment versus fulfillment at an even keel, I kept cautious anticipation of Florida's imminent chimps and alligators. Now, next week, something a little bit special. I'm going to be reading to you from an unpublished manuscript, a manuscript I have yet to send my publisher. And I'm going to be asking you whether I should bother or not, and whether it's worthy of being published. And I guess after a few readings, maybe a month's worth, I'll count up the likes, I'll count up the comments, and see if they add up to a positive response to sending the manuscript to the publisher. Just to give you a tantalizing little foretaste, the novel is very funny, even if I say so myself. It's a rollicking comedy, it's very satirical, so on and so forth. And it's all the more interesting in that it's a true story. So don't miss that. It should be very, very interesting. So for now, in my messy office, for me and for Dr. Sigmund Freud and my cat who keeps meowing, I will say goodbye until next week, roughly. Okay, subscribe if you can. Visit my website at www.mark, M-A-R-C, Luke, L-U-C, Carrier, C-A-R-R-I-E-R, rather, .com. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you. Bye-bye.